just so Camden, you can go back and see it if you need it. And that way, if the other girls don't pop in, they can always go back and watch this as well for whatever we're gonna do. So I am going to share my screen. And I'll move this out of the way as we do some of the stuff. So what I actually did in our announcement section of our course, can you see our course here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do this, make it a little bit easier. So I put this here. So if for some reason throughout the semester we need to do remote again, you never know what happens. Crazy things go on. I just put it here. It's for every week. So if we have to use it again, I don't have to reissue it out there to you guys. It's there. Okay. Any of the assignments that have been submitted, I'll get to those. I usually try to grade everything by Friday so you at least know where you are with things. And then just jumping back into our content last week, we went through the computer hardware. So this week is actually we kind of are ahead of the game. This week would be doing module 1, which is the 2.1, 2.2, 2.39, and 3.1. So really, Camden, you're not all that far behind because last week was just really the scavenger hunt, getting the test out stuff, and going through the course expectations. So I'm gonna jump into here because we already worked through some of the stuff together. I'm going to skip over what we already did here. So we did the computer hardware. We did 2.1.5 and 2.1.6. So we did these two together. Actually,
Mhm.
these three last week. So I am going to let you all go through 2.1, 2.7, and 2 point, I hate all these, 2.1, 17, 18, and 19. That's an easier way to say it for you all to work through those. All right. I'm going to come down a little bit to our system software. So this is what I will, as we go through the courses, I will get you through some of the stuff, and then the rest is going to be yours to finish out before our next class period. And seeing normally I have everything due Friday. That's your goal to get through everything by Friday, but you want to be done with each module before we start the next one. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it is definitely helpful if you go through the learning tools and the videos before we actually meet for class. So the system software one, I'm going to jump into this one first. And definitely in this first section with the hardware and the software and file management, use the course outline that I gave you so that you don't end up doing more than you need to. And my internet is a little slow today. It's taking a bit to warm up. Mhm. All right, so this is the software section. And as I said before, you can print this stuff, you can copy and paste it into Word for reference to help guide you. The videos are out there as well for you to watch through. There's our system software facts, just some things to be aware of, the difference between utility software versus firmware, our operating system functions, what it does, how it benefits you. Bless you.
Thank you.
All of these different nice pictures and stuff are there for your reference. So I'm going to actually jump. So we want to get up to 2.1.3. So there's a lot here for you to go through. Windows printing facts, Windows updates. All right, so the skills lab. This is exploring the Windows 11 features. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this one. And like I said, I will go through a handful of these and then I'll do the file management one, and then your job will be to finish out the ones that we did not do. Okay, so with this, it walks you through the tasks. There's 8 tasks in this one, and I'm going to actually minimize this. So if you have a question, holler, pop in and just get me to stop or pause. So with this one's in the settings app, view detailed information about your system. All right, so there's a couple different ways that you can do this, and I actually need to move this little bar away. Let me move it up here. Okay. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. If you're not sure, because this, I understand the setup of this isn't like your normal computer would be. So again, you can click on that hint button and click the start button and then settings. So if you're not sure, like where is the start button, right? A lot of times if you put your cursor on things, it will give you the little pop-up. So you don't have to like use the hint or the show me. So you can click on the start, and then we're going to go into the settings, and we want to scroll down and select the about right there. All right. Now, because I use the hint, it's going to have me come back to this, but that's okay. Right. So use the setting app. So we're going to come back into here, our setting, and we want the display resolution to be 1600 by 900. So that's where you can kind of come through the different information, see what's here. If it's not on the left side, go over to the display. We're going to change that resolution to 16 by 900, which is right there. Right. And click keep changes. So really with this section, I'm going to go through this skills lab. What this section is teaching you how to do is how to configure or make changes to your computer, your desktop, your tablet, or your laptop so that it's more functionable for you. So the resolution will either make things bigger or smaller. So the higher the number, the smaller the widgets or the icons on your desktop. So if you're someone like myself, as you get older and you can't see anything anymore, and I'm always zooming in on things, you can actually reduce the resolution, which would lower the number size, and it would make the things bigger on your desktop. All right. So there's some options there. The screensaver is just that. It reverts your screen so that if you're at work and you have things that you don't want people to see, or if you walk away from your computer, you don't want someone logging into your computer and accessing things, you can actually set up your screensaver. So on here, we're going to go back to the settings. And again, you can kind of scroll down and find the things that you need. And I can never remember where the screensaver is on ours. Let's see if it's in here. And if it's not, even on my computer, I always forget where it is. We're going to personalization. Oh, there it is. Like I said, knowing that you can go in and do it is more important than knowing where all of this stuff is. All right, so on the right side of the screen, scroll down and select lock screen. And we want our lock screen to have the slide show. And we want the screensaver option. And once you click that, it brings up the little pop-up. Is it showing you all the little pop-ups that are coming up on mine?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I'm going through all this, and I didn't want you guys saying like we can't see this. So with the lock screen, we want in the screensaver settings, we want it on the drop down is to be a blank screen. And in the wait field, we want it to say 15 minutes. Right. So in 15 minutes, if I don't touch my mouse or touch the keyboard or anything like that, it'll go to a blank screen and then click OK. All right. So I'm using the hints just so that you can see where to walk through some of these things on the skills. It is okay to use the hints. You're not going to lose points for using the hints on the skills. Okay. So I always say the first time through, use the hints. It's definitely helpful. So with this one, we're going to configure Windows Update to include the updates for other Microsoft products. So we're going to come back into our settings and we want to do our Windows Update. All right. So our Windows Update, we want it to include updates. Let's see if it's going to allow me. And actually, let me go back. So I went into the Windows Update, which was right here up in the top. I selected that and then I went to the advanced and I want to receive updates for other Microsoft products, which is the first option up there. So I'm going to click OK and that's it. So that will give me all of the Microsoft products, not just Windows or Word. Okay. So back in the same spot, go back into our settings. And with this one, we want to pause the updates from being installed on our computer. All right. And it is set for 1 week. I just clicked on it and that's all that it was asking. You can also click this little pause here next to the good job stuff. That will also pause your updates. We then want to add the printers. So on here, we're going to go to our settings. And we want to, I want to make sure I don't have anything else there. So we're going to add our Bluetooth and devices, and we're going to select printers and scanners, right? And we want to add the Canon, that's the P1500 on the list of available printers. And we're going to use the default settings. And then you wait for a minute. And that's it. So this should give you a little bit of knowledge experience on at least navigating your own personal computer, right? For this one, it is asking us to configure a printer that's already on here. So we're going to select the Sharp one and we want it to be set as the default printer. So all I have to do is click on that. Okay. Again, going back to the printers, click on the start button, go to your settings. We are going to Bluetooth and devices, and that's where our printers and scanners are. We're going to share the Sharp one. We're going to have to do it a different place. Oh, okay, so what I did under our printer, I tried to click preferences first because that would be my first assumption of where you would find it. It's under the printer properties and we're going to go sharing. We're going to share this printer and the name, we're going to take out the spaces and the dash and then click OK. And then this is taking us back. So under our settings app, we're going to close here. We want to see detailed information about our computer. So this is an important area. When you go to that about, if you wanted to get a new printer or you wanted to get a monitor or software that you're going to put on your computer and you have no idea the specs or information about your computer, you can actually take a screen print of this, print it, and take it to Staples or Best Buy or wherever, and that would at least tell the salesperson what the specs are on your computer to see if it matches the new software or the new printer or device that you're going to connect to your printer. So if they're like, well, I don't know if this is going to match up, you can actually take that. It gives them all of the pertinent details on your printer. And then the last one, we're just going back, setting that screensaver that I skipped over. I can remember where I did it. Under personalization. Maybe. That's the problem. Oh, there's our lock screen. They should just call it screensaver. All right. When our screens, and I can never remember where it is. It's always like, it takes me a minute. So let's do it blank and okay. All right. So that is our 2.213. All right. Um, I want to use the time for you ladies efficiently. Do you want me to go through one of the applieds on this one, or would you rather I do the file management, do a couple of those for you?
Which one are you? What numbers? I know
The
what you
two,
just did.
the 2.2 is what I'm on. I can do another one here and then try to do two of the 2.3 ones.
Oh, you mean okay, going. Yeah. Well, I think maybe the 2.3, but I
Okay.
don't know.
I'll do, let's see. I'll do one more in the 2.2 and then I'll
Okay.
jump ahead to the 2.3. That way you at least seen a couple in here.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we should have enough time to do that. All right,
Okay.
so this one is changing the display settings. So this is 2.2.14.
Yep. Okay.
So that way, and then I'll share this out too. So as you're going through the other ones, if you need to go back and see where we did a couple of the settings, you guys.
And then we can go back to the recording too, right?
Yes. And if you
Okay.
ever miss a class or you are working on one of these, let's say you're working on 2.2.17 and you're stuck, send me
Yeah.
a text and I always say try to give me 24 hours at least and I can do a recording like this and send it out to you guys
Okay.
to help you. So that way you're
Thank you.
stuck sitting there going, I don't know how to do this. I can't get past
Right.
this one and you're sitting there for an hour trying to get past one module that should take you no more than like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the applied ones are a little bit different. So the
Okay.
applied labs usually give you like this. They have a little bit of text here and they give you a bunch of things to do at once. So this part up here is kind of a backstory. Recently purchased new monitor for your computer. The old one used to use a display resolution of 1280 by 1040. However, the new one has a much higher display resolution. You need to change your display settings in Windows to match what is supported by the monitor. To protect your new monitor, you want the screensaver to come on after the system has been idle for a brief period of time. In addition, you want to require the user to log in before the screensaver will deactivate. So it's just protecting your computer. So we're going to set the display setting. So I'm going to do each of these at a time. Display setting, and we're going to change that to, what's our new one? A higher
So
one.
16. Oh,
Does it
no.
16 by 9? Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep changes. Exit out of there. And then what do? We check the answer. We check it, right? So that way you know you're not jumping through a whole bunch of stuff and doing it wrong. So the next one is set the screensaver to ribbon. So personalization is our screensaver. We're going down to lock. Where's my lock? Lock screen. And we're going to set our screensaver. We want it to be ribbon. There's our ribbons and we want it to activate after the system's been idle for 10 minutes. So I'm changing that to 10. And then we want to, on resume, display the login screen. So I'm going to click that and click OK, exit out of there and check the answers. All right. That one was pretty simple. So I'm going to go through the next one. So when we have simple ones like that, I can do a couple. All right. So this one is going to connect to a printer. All right. Same thing gives you a little backstory. Printer's broken. We're trying to save money to purchase a new one. In the meantime, your roommate has shared their Canon printer on the network so you can send print jobs to it. So complete the following tasks. So we're going to add the shared printer. So we're going to come in here, Bluetooth devices, our printers and scanners, and we're going to add the Canon printer. This one here, we're going to add it using the default settings. And then once we do that, We're going to set it as the default. And then I'm going to check the answers. That's it. All right. Simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that actually is, which one? 2.2.15. All right,
Yeah.
we'll do another one. See what we can get through.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well use our
Yeah.
time. Oop, I jumped one. 2.2.16. All right, we're going to share a printer. All right. Basically the same concept. We're sharing another printer. So I'm going to go into my settings, my Bluetooth and devices, printers and scanners. And we are going to share the Canon inkjet. So that's this one. And we are going to go to the printer properties. And we're going to share this printer with we're going to take out a lot of the words here. Canon P1500. So I'm going to delete all of that and click OK. Check our answers. Simple. So that one is done. And we'll do the 2.217. So this is configuring Windows. Right, this one just purchased a used desktop for doing homework, help protect the system from security threats and bugs. You want to make sure Windows operating system is configured to update itself automatically whenever a new update is released. So I'm going to come in here and go to my settings. So here's our Windows update. Last checked was 10 hours ago. So I'm going to click on that. And I want it to give updates for other Microsoft products. So I'm going to click on this and select on. And then resume updates, turn off the temporary pause. So we're going to click resume updates and then we're going to check our answers. Everything looks good. So the last part of the 2.2 is concept questions. You all can work through that. I'm going to go back to D2L, and this is one of the things I always suggest as you're doing these. Once you get through all of 2.2, go back to D2L, and go into the next one from D2L. So I did the system software, so I'm going to go down to the file management. Same thing. I'm going to go into it from here. That way I know I'm not going down a rabbit hole doing a bunch of modules that I don't have to do.
And concept questions.
Yes,
They're the same as what we're doing. So
it's
that's where
based
they're
on,
actually
yeah,
testing us and we're not doing the hint or anything.
no, that you can actually, I always say, like, open up like the any notes that you have, you can use your notes. I'd rather you look something up and you like use your notes and find the answer than to guess on it and get it wrong. So it's
Okay.
everything for 2.2.18, the concept questions,
All together.
is just on the system software. It should be.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And then there's another one on file management and one on computer hardware.
Got it.
All right, 2.39. That just kind of walks you through. Did I skip that one? I did. That needs to be added to our,
Yeah, it's not on here.
yeah, add that one in. It
All
is
right.
due 2.3.9 is our
Two,
skills. I'll have to update my.
9. Okay.
All right, so this one is managing files and Windows.
Is it because it's and Windows? Because the next one is manage files. 2.3.10 is manage files.
Maybe that's why.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it's the skills that manage and share files. And then 10 is just managing the files.
Okay.
I probably just skipped it by accident. But
Okay.
okay, so this actually has 10 tasks. So in the documents folder on the PC, So this is our documents folder here. We can open that up and go into documents. We are going to create a folder named Econ 100. So you could do this a couple different ways. I like to go to new. Like all I did was right click here with my mouse, right click and select new and go folder. You can also go new folder up in the left here. So there's a couple different ways you can do things. What you will find is sometimes the system will lock a certain way. Like I like shortcuts and it sometimes locks the shortcut. It wants you to do things the long way. So if you do something with like Control V, Control C and things like that, and it doesn't move you to the next step, reset the task and do it the long way because that's what it's looking for. All right, in the documents folder, so we're going to go back in there. So as you can see, once you start doing something like the last one was going into the system, going. So now we're going into the documents folder and we are going to delete the lorem.doc. So there's a couple different ways. You can do the trash can here. You can right click and select there, or you can click on it and hit the delete button. All right. Couple different ways. All of them work for this section. In the documents folder again, we are going to copy this one to the documents folder on your Microsoft OneDrive account. So we're going to right click and we're going to copy it. So this one with the scissors is cut. The second one that kind of has two duplicates is copy. And again, if you put your cursor on it and hover, it gives you the shortcut key. So what I suggest, and I tell all my students this when we're talking basic computer classes, get a piece of paper and this works. Can you see my little notepad here, my little stickies? Write down 5 shortcuts that you want to learn. Control C, Control X, Control V, Control O, Control P, Control whatever. All right? And keep them next to you and reference them. Control C copies, Control X cuts, Control V pastes, Control P prints, Control O opens, Control N is new. Like there's a bunch, right? Write down 5 and have it where you're working so that you can reference it when you're working on Word documents and things like that, so you can reference it. When you have it that you don't need to look at your notepad anymore, take this page, rip it off, throw it away, and write down 5 new ones. They're for you to be more efficient. I do shortcuts on everything, and you'll see as we get further on in the course, I'll try to do something and it won't give me credit for it because I did the shortcut, right? And there's thousands of shortcuts to make your life a little bit more efficient. Okay. So with this one, we are copying it. So I'm going to copy it there. I'm going to go to my OneDrive, my documents folder, and I'm going to right click. And you can see it gives you the paste option. And it also tells you Control V is paste. So I'm going to paste that there. Task 7. We're going to go back into our documents folder. We're going to copy this one. And we're going to right click to our D drive. We're going to go, there's our D and our Latin folder. We're going to paste it there. Again, back in that documents folder. We're going to rename this one. So I'm going to right click on it and this should be our rename, which is F2. And we're going to call it, instead of the lorem.docx, we're going to call it lorem2.docx. And the recycle bin, restore, I want to open it, and we're going to restore this to its previous location. And I'll tell you a little funny story. I was helping my mother with her computer one day, and her recycling bin had hundreds of files in it. And I went up to delete them, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm deleting it." She goes, "No, that's where I store my important documents." Other, I said, it's a recycling bin. Do you store your bills in your trash can? She's like, no. So I showed her how to do folders. So this is one way that you accidentally deleted something, you need it back. It doesn't go away until you actually empty the recycling bin. Okay. And this one is going to take us to actually empty it. And then, so this one has a couple little steps. So switch to the hardware view and connect the USB thumb drive to the computer. Okay. So I'm going to move this down here. I'll move you guys. See if it'll let me do it. Okay. So up here in the left, there's one that actually looks like a tower. If you click on that, that switches you over to the hardware view. All right, let me move this out of the way so it's not blocking. So we want to connect the USB thumb drive to the computer. All right, so we're going to click on our storage devices and let's go to the back of ours. And we're going to click this in right there. And then we're going to open the File Explorer in Windows and verify the system has been assigned that drive letter of E. So I'm going to click the screen on the monitor. Move this back up here out of the way. And for here, we're going to open this up and we're going to go to my PC. And there's my jump drive with the E. Select the option in Windows to eject it. So with that highlighted, I can right click on it and select eject and click OK. Then I want to go back to the hardware view. So up here on the top, up on my trash bin, I'm going to click on the one that says my PC and it looks like a tower. This one is our Windows display. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to grab that and take it out. And sometimes when you drag it, you should be able to drag it to the bottom here. If it gives you an error like it just did me, just kind of drag it to a couple different places until it lets you remove it. All right. Next one, we're giving Susan access to our graphics folder. So we're going to go down to our PC drive. We're going to go down to our data drive. There's our graphics folder. And I'm going to go into my properties and I'm going to share it. And I'm going to share it with, oops. Share this folder. I don't want it to be everyone. I want one. All right, there's Susan. And I want her to have read and write access. And then I'm going to click share. So we're going to do that again. But this time we're going and we're going to give the finances folder. So there's our finances. Right click, go to properties. We're going to sharing. We're going to share it again with Susan because Susan doesn't come to class. So give her, we're going to add her there. And she just has read permission and click share. Oh, I'm sorry, John. John gets, I just assumed it was that Susan again. There we go. All right. And then this one is the one that I used the hint on. So I'm going to just go back and clear this one. So that was graphics and Susan. add her, and then read, write, and share. And then score that one. Everything looks good. Even though I used the hint and went back and redid the one, it still gave me full credit for it. So when you do the skills stuff, definitely use the hints
Yeah.
when needed. All right, so that is our 2.39. All right, so let's take a look at what we can get through on the other ones. So we'll do the 2.3.10. All right, so this one talks about needing to take Latin, and your Windows notebook and Microsoft Office need to complete your first homework assignment. In addition to copying and renaming files from a USB thumb drive, you need to delete an unneeded file on your hard drive and restore a file that you accidentally deleted. So we're going to come in here, open this up. We're going to go to our documents, and we are going to create a new folder called Latin 101. We are going to our D drive, and we're copying this one. We're going to copy it. I did a Control C, and we're going to come up here to our folder that we just created. And then it says to delete it. Go back down here to this one. And this one needs to be renamed to the, instead of in parentheses, we're going to do an underscore. And then we're going to come into our recycling bin, and we're going to restore this one. And then it says to empty the recycling bin. Before I empty the recycling bin, I'm going to check my answers though. Okay, so that's what I was thinking. This one and this one didn't do it right. So I'm going to go back to those. Copy to the Latin 101 folder. So let's try that one again. So we're coming in here. It says the D ipsum.docs. We're copying it to our this one that we just created. I did that. All right, and then I think it wants us to delete this one. Nope. So let me check, make sure. Okay. All right, I did that one. So now it wants to delete the lorem.docs. This one, we're going to delete that one. And then check our answers. There we go. So you see how sometimes you go through and there's things that are missed. Go back and do them one at a time if you didn't do them correctly. And then the last thing is emptying our recycling bin.
But
And
just like that, when we're doing it, how do we know? But you don't know. Like you can't hit a hint there, right? You just had to go
no,
back, actually
yeah,
read it,
they're
and just try again.
correct. There's no
Okay,
hint on this one. And
got
actually,
it.
yeah. So I'm deleting that. What you need to do is come up here and then check and see if it has green check marks. If it's red, select keep working and go back. There's no
Okay,
hint, but you could
but
at
it'll still
least,
let you work and figure it out.
yeah,
Got it.
at least lets you know, oh, that was the wrong one. And
Okay,
I was like, oh, I deleted it. I didn't delete it from the correct spot. So that's where you could at least go back and correct something or look at it. And what I found from mine, I don't read thoroughly. And then I go, oh, I didn't read that correctly. I got to do this.
just moving fast. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so this one is done. Score that and we'll jump to the next one. So that was 2.310.
Yeah.
So let's jump into 2.311. All right, and these ones are applied, so they are like that. Check the answers. If it's good, you can move on. If there's the red X's, go back and see what you
Hmm.
missed or maybe didn't do exactly right. So this one, again, we're doing thumb drive. We're going to insert the thumb drive into a free USB port. So first we need to get the thumb drive, drag it down here. Oop, doesn't want us to do that. So we're going to jump to the back of, all right, come on. There we go. And we're going to drag this over to an open port back there. And I'm going to actually check these as I do it. So it, oh, it says verify that it connected it. So that's where we flip to the front. And this one you're going to kind of go back and forth on
Hmm.
from the back to the front. So it did, it connected it. So I'm going to check my answer. So that's where the check mark, I plugged it into the back of the tower, but you have to go and make sure on the document side that it's there. All right, so I'm going to keep working. So for this one, copy the lorem.docs file in the Latin 101 folder on the thumb drive. So I'm in the thumb drive. This is my Latin 101. I'm going to select it and I'm going to copy it. And we want to copy it to the folder in my documents. And we're going to paste it there. All right, so that's step 2. I'm going to check that. Step 2, I got a good check mark there. So remove the thumb drive from the USB port. Be sure to stop the device properly before removing it. So I'm going to minimize all of these folders. And I am going to right click and select eject. And then I'm going into my PC back here. There we go. And check my answers. Everything looks good. Score that lab. All right. And I actually might do this for our regular classes, then I can save it for anyone that misses.
Yeah.
All right, so this one takes us to 12, 2.3.12.
Hmm.
We might actually be able to get through the last two in the 2.3.
Hmm.
All right, so our group project, you need to be able to collaborate. So in this lab, we're going to give Sam, Susan, and John access to the D Latin 101 folder. So let's go over here. We're going to go to this PC, find our D Latin, and we're going to right click, select our properties, sharing. We're going to share with who? That's Susan that doesn't come to class. Sam was sick. And John. And we want Sam to have read and write access. Susan should have read and write access. And John only gets read access because he doesn't do his work. All right. And I'm going to select done there. And we're going to check our answers on that. So all of that looks good. We just have to do the last step. So our last step is copy the lorem text file from the documents Latin folder. So here's our documents Latin. So we're going to right click and copy that. And we're going to copy it to our D folder down here, our Latin 101. And we're going to paste it. And we're going to check our answers. And everything looks good. So as you could see, the skills introduces the new topic. The applied and the challenge labs will test your knowledge on it to make sure that you understand what you're doing. All right. So that takes us through our 2 point. Was that our 2.1.3?
Yeah.
Oh,
OneDrive storage. Use
all
OneDrive.
right. So that actually,
Yeah. It was OneDrive storage.
no, that was, I think that was the
Then that
share.
would,
No, we need to do 2.3.13.
yeah, that's what we're on now.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And then that way we'll actually be a little bit ahead of the game.
Yes.
And then you guys can go back and do the 2.1, 17, 18, and 19.
Thank you.
So this one, in this lab, you need to copy the ipsum.docs file from the documents folder on your desktop to the systems documents folder within your Microsoft OneDrive account. So we're going our quick access desktop. There's our documents folder. There's the ipsum. So we're going to copy it. And we're going to go to the PC. PC, there's our, oh, we're going to the OneDrive. We're going to go to the documents folder and we're going to paste it there. And we're going to see if I did, that's it. It's all that she wrote. So some of these are going to be simple and easy. Actually, let's jump to, we still have a few minutes. If it's okay with you all, I'm going to actually jump to, oh, I just exited out of D2L completely. Fast clicking. I'm going to do the 3.1.
Yeah.
All right. That shouldn't take us very long.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that takes us down here to 3.1. So I'm going to jump in here. Give my computer a moment to catch up. All right. This one is getting started with Office, which is what we're going to move into next week. We're going to start doing Microsoft Word. Let me move this out of the way. There's your labs and everything. We need to go down to 3.1.9. All right, with the skills lab, all right, this one has 9 tasks. These are fairly simple and easy. If my computer would catch up, we can get through it. All right, so the first one, it says create a new blank document and then close it. So there's a couple ways that you can do it. Control N would be creating one. You can also go to File, New, and then it wants you to close it. So you can go File, Close, or you can actually exit out in the upper right-hand corner. The next step says save the current document as a plain text file called resume.txt. So I'm going to save as. Let's select browse. And then I'm going to save it as resume, but instead of a Word document, we're going to save it as a plain text file. And we want to save it in our document folder and click OK. The next one, a lot of this is opening and saving. So it's just opening, saving, renaming it, saving as a different file in a different location. So with this one, we're going to save the current document to our documents folder in our OneDrive account. So this is this PC. We're going to go to the OneDrive. We're going to go into documents and we're going to click save. Okay, so this one, we're going to open a file. Can't talk today. So we're going to select open. We're going to browse. We're going to go to our documents folder on our computer and open the flyer. Oh, the downloads folder. See, I don't read. And then we're going to enable the document for editing. So we're going to give a second to load. I'm going to move you guys up out of the way, and there's our enable for editing. From the documents folder, we're going to open the memo docs. We're going to go open, browse, and there's our memo. Open it. And then we're going to close it. That's it. Edit the document properties to include the following. So on this, under info, and you'll do this a lot. In Excel, we'll do it. In PowerPoint, we'll do it. In Word, we'll do it. So just so you know, when it talks about the document properties, it's all in here. So under title, we're going to call it resume. And then categories is career, comma, jobs. And in all honesty, if it wasn't for the slow internet, we'd probably go through this twice as fast. All right, I'm gonna move this down here. So it says collapse the ribbon. So this is the ribbon up here where the toolbars and all the tasks and drop downs are. So this little arrow here allows us to collapse it. And then once you click on one of the menus, then you can click pin and that will keep it visible. So you can actually click on that. I'm going to show it again just because. So you can collapse it, and then it doesn't matter which menu that you click on just to open it up, and then pin it will keep it open from that point on. From the home tab of the ribbon in the paragraph group. So we're going to go home tab. Paragraph group is the one in the middle here. We're going to run the command to show formatting marks on the document. So this P here, that is your punctuation and like your markings on the document. So as we get into Word a little bit later, that is actually beneficial when you're trying to format the layout of a page and spacing's off and you don't know why, and click on that and it'll tell you if you've hit the space bar, if you hit the tab button, if you hit enter, it'll show you all of the spacing of your document. And it is a lifesaver when you can't figure out why things aren't moving the way that they are. That will give you insight to how the page is laid out. So by clicking on that, it brings up all the little punctuation. So the P's mean you hit enter. The dots are the space bar. So you can see all the different things. All right, last one. Under the leadership section of the document, so we're going to scroll down and find the leadership section. We're going to italicize the student body president. So I'm going to highlight student body president. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can do Control I, which would italicize it. You can go to the I up in the toolbar, or you can right click on it and select italics there. So there's 3 different ways that you can actually do that. All right. Actually, not too bad. Let's do our last one, the challenge for 3.1.10. Getting started with Office. And our challenges, like I said, are just the ones where they give you the tasks. We're going to check it as we go through and wrap up tonight's lesson. We actually got a lot accomplished tonight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is the presentation you will use for this lab. You can click begin. On slide 1, apply the italicized to the word forms. So really, this is just being able to format our, oops. Oh, this one's not, this is taken through the steps. Huh, different. All right, save the current presentation as a series of JPEG images. So I'm going to select JPEG. I'm going to select browse in the documents folder, and we're going to save it as JPEG. And what it'll do is each slide will be saved different. This is actually a really neat way if you ever wanted to create memes and things like that. It's the fastest way to save it in a format that is usable. It looks like the system's getting a little glitchy. All right, like I said before, our info, you'll do it in all of the different ones. So this one is forms, and the subject is philosophy. Philosophy. And if you misspell it, it won't give you credit to the next task. So if you ever put something in, you're like, I know I put it in the right place and it's not moving forward, check your spelling. From the documents folder, so we're going to go file, open, browse our documents folder. We're going to open the Monet PowerPoint, and then we're going to close it. Create a new presentation. So we're going to go file, new, and we're going to select the Metropolitan. So the Metropolitan is this blue one down here. We're going to open it and then close it without saving any of the changes. It is really slowing down. Collapse the ribbon and then expand it again and pin it. Create a new blank presentation and then close it without saving any changes. Save the current presentation in the documents folder within your OneDrive account. So I'm going to come in here, browse. I'm going to go to my OneDrive, go to my documents and save. And our last task for this evening, on slide 1, add the following text to the subtitle placeholder. So down here where it says click to add subtitle, we're going to type the power of ideas. And that's it. So while this is loading, what I will do is I'm going to stop sharing here for a second. I'm going to stop recording